Okay, so we're back. We took the little Allen screw out here. These pins don't just pull right out. You got to put a little pressure on here. Basically, I just use a little bit larger Allen so you don't damage the threads there. Just give it a little tap with your hand. It'll come right loose. Once you do that, you'll just pull the pin out and you'll just pull the cam out, such as so. There's no shims or washers or anything like that. Just make sure you keep your cam oriented for your stamping side. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back. We have the new cams installed. Little blue dab of Loctite. We're ready to go ahead and compress. What's nice about the replacement cam set that Ravin sent is it already has the cables wrapped around. They have these brass bearing collars that go on the center post. I may or may not put those on there. There's a little E-clip that you have to take off with a screwdriver. So basically just make sure when you put it back in the press that you get this in the pressing blocks correctly. And then also check your saddles up in here. Make sure those are set down in their appropriate position as you start to compress the limbs. We'll go ahead and set it back in the press, and I'll be back shortly. Once again, pay attention. Make sure you haven't lost your little saddle pivot mounts here. There's a little bit of grease in there. They will stay in there on their own, but that's why I used the tape, basically, to make sure those wouldn't fall out while I was flipping everything over. So it's kind of hard to see here. I just kind of will align these kind of parallel to the limb as it's uncompressed, like so. Got a perfect straight line almost there. Make sure you are in your proper positions here. And then also a 1/2-inch ratchet works really good instead of trying to use this little handle. There's no man on the planet that can really get these things under tension with that little tiny handle. So I'll wind it up by hand till I start to feel some decent effort. I'll check everything, make sure everything's looking nice and flush where it should be, and we'll go ahead and compress it down, reattach the cables, feed the string, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so we're back. Got all the strings installed. One thing I will mention is the saddles for the limb pockets, if that's what you want to call those. These things are a little difficult. There is a ledge. It's kind of hard to see. You can see it there. You got to make sure that you don't get that pinched in there and break that. I found it's easier to put these saddles on the limb, slide them up into position so that that wrap around is on the bottom side of the limb in this case. Slide that forward and then just let these guys kind of fall to their respective place. So got our strings on. We're gonna go ahead and decompress it, check everything out, and then we'll check our cam lean. So far, this is not a really hard task. Adjusting the cam lean is not a hard task other than getting your cables off the post right here. It's a little difficult. Don't use anything sharp. Ravin says you can put up to 1 twist at this end of your cable to get your cam lean correct. So we'll go ahead and decompress it. I'll draw it, make sure the cam lean's not excessively severe. Probably fire about 10 shots, check the timing, readjust cam lean and timing if needed as necessary. All in all, not a real hard job. We've been at this maybe an hour, and that's the first time I did it. So these cams do have a different stamping. Ironically, they are stamped with just an R and an L. Actually vice versa, since we're upside down. My wife's bow is an earlier model, R10. Hers has the R and L. My cams were stamped RN, and these are the ones that were giving me problems. Once again, you can see where that cable cutting was happening, and that has about 20 shots on it on a brand new string. So what probably happened is they didn't get a burr or something out of that helicoil groove there. It was turning this white, and you can actually feel a giant knot inside there. So we'll shoot it, and hopefully this will be the end of my issues. Hope that helps. Ravin Press. Put some strings and cables on. There's a write-up on Crossbow Nation on how to do this, about timing these, getting your cam lean and everything. He's a little bit more instructional than I am, but I figured I would just post this up. So if you guys need to reference it, go right ahead. Have a good day.